We just had a spectacular lunch at La Residence, which is one of the best restaurants in Phnom Penh. And I think it just shows that there's, like most developing countries, there's huge gaps between how the working people live and how the very few people with money can live. And talking to a lot of Cambodians, Phnom Penh is actually kind of depressing. People don't seem happy like they did in Siem Reap. Apparently there's a lot of corruption, and I asked one of our cab drivers, well, how does everyone here have, they're big on Toyota Land Cruisers and Lexus SUVs. They're obsessed with Lexus, actually. They'll even emblazon the word Lexus on the side of their car to show that they have a Lexus. And he just shook his head and said it's just the corruption. Anyone who works for the government basically is rich. Everyone else is poor. But it's a developing country. Actually today, Premier of China was staying at our hotel. There's a big Asian conference here, and Cambodia is making big steps into becoming a more stable economy, but in the meantime there's always going to be growing pains. But I mean, from a tourism angle, it's cheap as can be. I mean, our high-end 3-course lunch with wine was still about $100, which isn't cheap, but the same thing in Paris would cost you 3 times as much. So we're off to go see the killing fields, which I'm sure will be another somber experience. Overall, Phnom Penh has been interesting, but I'm not really looking forward to coming back at any time. But if you're going to be in Cambodia, it's worth a stop through for sure. So this is the beginning of the killing fields tour, I guess you could say. I've never actually done one of these audio tours. I'm always, too on the go, too in a rush, and I couldn't be bothered, but I'm very thankful that I am. The tour, this audio guide is amazing, and basically this is where they would bring all of the prisoners, most of whom started out at the S21 center that we were at earlier today, and they would be brought here being told that maybe they're going home, they're just going to be put in a different prison complex, but they were brought here in truckloads and would end up being killed. So in the early days, every couple weeks, they would bring a truck of like 50 to 70 people. And then towards 1978, there were like 300 a day coming here. And it's just unbelievable to think that the Cambodians, that regime could do it to their own people. But I'm going to continue along, and as much as I don't want to hear what's going to come and see next, I think it's pretty impressive that the Cambodian government is, putting this on display for the world to see. So the killing fields weren't actually slave grounds or anything. Most of the time when the truck would arrive with the new prisoners, they would just be killed right then and there. But towards the end, in 78 and 79, when it was tons and tons of people coming here, they would actually house them in a wooden house with no windows and muffled, so you couldn't hear screams, so that the next night they would actually be killed. And most of the prisoners here were just common people, a lot of educated people. If you spoke a foreign language, if nuns, lawyers, doctors, any educated people were a threat to Pol Pot's regime, so they would be brought here and killed. Yeah, it's just crazy to think about. So all of these areas with the roofs over them were actually mass graves. In this small little space, they found over 450 bodies. Over this, there's about 6 acres here at the killing fields, and they don't know exactly how many people died, but hundreds of thousands. It's crazy. You can actually, especially on rainy days, there's still pieces of bone and cloth all over the place. We're now in the A building at the SR21 complex, and these were the rooms that they would torture and interrogate the high-end government officials. So they would keep them on this bed as they basically just tortured them. So it's pretty incredible that these rooms haven't really been renovated or touched. I mean, this is pretty much how it was in 1979 when the liberation forces came and freed the prisoners in the jail. And if you see out in the courtyard there is actually 14 graves, and those were the 14 people, which includes one woman, the bodies that were found when they finally came in and liberated the prison. You can see there they have the security rules. Don't make pretext in order to hide that you're a secret traitor. If you don't follow all the above rules, you'll get many lashes of electric wire. It's just crazy to think that this once was a thriving high school, and up until 1979 there were as many as 5,500 prisoners in this small complex. I think it gives me chills to even read the document on it, but the brochure ends with, keeping the memory of the atrocities committed on Cambodia's soil alive is the key to build a new and strong and just state. Furthermore, making the crimes of the inhuman regime of Khmer Rouge public plays crucial role in preventing new Pol Pot from emerging in the lands of Angkor or anywhere else on Earth.